What is up, guys? How's everyone doing? It's Pad Guru here with another Puzzles and Dragons video. In today's video we're going to be discussing a top 5. This video it's going to be top 5 rainbow leaders in Puzzles and Dragons. For any card to be eligible in this top 5, it has to have 3 different colors of orbs to multiply its leader skill, so it can have anywhere from 3 to 6 orbs for it to count. Let's get going. Starting off in this list we have Umisachi Yamasachi, more commonly referred to as Yuma. Yuma has a very special place in my heart because it was my first REM character that I got, and he's taken his whole entire journey with me through Pad, and I still love him today. He's a great leader. My Yuma is about 35 plus eggs away from being hypermaxed, and he is my strongest leader in my box. Umisachi Yamasachi is a 7-star monster with a god healer typing with a blue main attribute and a sub-wood attribute. His leader skill is a 5x attack when matching water, wood, light, and dark orb. His active skill changes fire orbs to water orbs and heal orbs to wood orbs, and his awakenings are pretty decent with 2 2-prongs, 1 skill boost, some orb enhances, and a blind resist, which is a 20%. Now he doesn't have a time extend, which is one of his weaknesses because all the other match 4 different color orbs times 5 gods do, which makes him pretty hard to use, and I struggled a lot in the early game to use him. But even though he makes up for it in his damage. Yuma has the highest damage out of all the times 5 leaders for match 4, and can even match up to the Light Cali's times 36 multiplier, making him a great strong leader. Even though he does a lot of damage, his blue main type makes him really weak to green descend dungeons because he only does half the damage and he really struggles there. Last reason why I believe he should only be number 5 is because his active skill. Now his active skill is great and it produces a lot of damage from generating blue and green orbs. But you also need light and dark orbs, and it doesn't generate that, so unless you bring more orb changers, he's really prone to orb troll, and I can't count the amount of times that that's happened to me, and it's very, very frustrating. So, with all that said, Yuma is number 5. Moving on to number 4, we have Horus. Horus is one of the original rainbow leaders and really changed the way that Pad was played. Now teams can be more offensively based to spike more damage because times 4 was unheard of back then. Recently though, Horus has fallen out of the picture because of all the new special gods and godfests that have come out with a lot of multipliers way above what Horus can usually do. But recently, Gung Ho has released Awoken Evos for all the Egyptian gods including Horus, and Awoken Horus becomes number 4 on my list. Awoken Horus is a 7-star god monster with a devil subtype and a god main type. His main attribute is fire with a sub-attribute of dark. His leader skill is 4x attack when attacking with 4 colors, and 4.5x attack when attacking with 5 colors. This isn't any improvement from his original Evo, but what really makes a difference is when you use his skill, devil and god damage is multiplied by 1.5, so with 2 Horuses, that damage becomes multiplied by 2.25, making his stats times 36 and times 45.5 when you use a skill. With that damage output, he becomes a lot more relevant and can take on any descend in the game, in my opinion. His skill is still basically useless, and a lot of people complain about it because it only enhances fire orbs, and that's kind of useless because you still have to match all the other colors. But it's got some sort of an improvement because it also increases movement time by 1 second, which is slightly better, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. Please, Gung Ho, please. His awakenings are pretty good with 2 skill boosts, 1 time enhance, 2 skill bind resists, and you also have a 2-prong. Coming in at number 3, we have Sakuya. Sakuya was one of the first 4 match gods to get an ultimate, and she was always the most powerful, and she's still very popular. But just like Horus, all the other match 4 gods got ultimates, and she started to fall out of the picture. But she's soon to get an Awoken Evo that is already in the Japan game and is soon coming to North America, which is an amazing leader, and that lands her at number 3. She is an 8-star god/physical monster with a light main attribute and a green sub-attribute. Her leader skill gives a 5x attack when matching fire, water, wood, and light orbs, and increases to 6x attack when using a skill. Her active skill reduces enemies' health by 20%. A reason why she still stayed good in the metagame is because of her awakenings. In her awakenings, she has a resist to basically everything that can go wrong in a game. She has poison resist, jammer resist, skill bind resist, and blinding resist. And with the addition of a 2-prong in her new Awoken version and the leader skill buff, she should be able to pack a lot more of a punch. Sakuya was mostly popular because of her physical typing, giving her monster amounts of HP, and her RCU was not bad either, really making her a tanky leader that could really survive the descends. Now with the new damage, she should be able to still go through the descends with the same tankiness she had. Coming in at number 2 in this top 5 is Rahl. Rahl was another one of the original rainbow leaders with Horus, but he was a lot stronger. This keeps him higher up on the tier list. The only problem is that you had to have a lot more skill to use him because you had to match all 5 to 6 orbs, while Horus you only had to match 4 to 5. With his new ultimate, his damage is skyrocketed up to times 100, but we'll get to that later. Awoken Ra is a 7-star monster with a devil god typing, with his main attribute being light and his sub attribute being fire. His leader skill is 5 times attack when attacking with 5 colors. Where it really shines is a 2 times burst for gods and devils when a skill is used. Altogether that's times 100 damage, which is pretty insane if you ask me. His active skill does 77,777 damage to all enemies regardless of their defense, which can take out any high defense monster in the game, even Extreme King Metal Dragon, and it also extends time to move orbs by 3 seconds, which is a lot better than Horus. Originally, Rahl bind proof and had a time extend, and they've also in his new Awoken ultimate have added 2 skill boosts. With all that, he should be able to use skills a lot faster to get that times 100 in. I would say that Rahl is probably one of the best leaders in the game, if not the best. Before we move on to the number 1 spot, I'd like to have a few honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Durga. Durga is the last of the match 4 times 5 gods that I haven't talked about. She probably has the most hate and is the least popular because of her lack of subs, poopy awakenings. With her new ultimate coming out soon, she gets a buff in her leader skill that makes it to where she doesn't get orb trolled as much, but that's about it. She gets no new awakenings and her active skill stays the same. So really that isn't enough to put her on this top 5, but she's still up there because times 25 damage is always a lot. My second and last honorable mention is Sona Gran. This is the only farmable leader on the list, and she is a very good leader. Her only drawback to me is that the dungeon to grab her is very hard. I found myself throwing 2 to 3 stones to beat this dungeon, and even after beating it once, there's no skill ups for her, so the only way to skill her up was to farm it again, and I was definitely not going to go through that again. She has a great times 36 multiplier, and also times 2.25 RCU, but it's for dragons, which is also a drawback for her, because I don't think dragons are the strongest sub pool out there, and so it would be very hard. But also if you got really lucky and had the right sub, Sona Gran could be a great leader, and that gets her an honorable mention. Coming in at number 1, which is in my opinion the best rainbow leader in all of Puzzles and Dragons, is none other than Light Callie. Most of you probably already knew this, but Light Callie is an amazing leader and also an amazing sub, and in my opinion probably the best card in the game at the moment. Light Callie is a 7-star god healer monster with a light main attribute and a fire sub attribute. Her leader skill multiplies damage by 5 times when matching fire, water, light, and dark orbs, and increases to times 6 when reaching 6 combos or higher. Her active skill changes the board into fire, water, wood, dark, and light orbs with at least 3 of each kind. Her awakenings are 2 2-prong, 2 skill boosts, 1 time extend, and also a skill bind resist. Not only is she a great leader, but she's also a great sub. With her active, you're basically guaranteed whatever leader skill you want. I use her on my Yuma team, you can use her on our Awoken Ra team, you can use her on a Sakuya team. She's even a great sub for herself, and most teams find 2 or 3 of them on each. She's just all around easy to use, has great awakenings, great damage, and in my opinion, the best rainbow leader in the game. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for watching this top 5. I have tons of more top 5s. I've thought of so many while trying to make this one. If any of you want me to make more, just let me know down in the comments, and I'd love to produce these. They're fun to make. If you want it to happen, it'll happen. Bad Guru, see you next time.